The human voice is the most powerful weapon and medicine in our arsenal of modern technology, and most of us have forgotten that we have that access to it. I'm Sammy Sadacario, and this is One Voice at a Time. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly connected? Not liked, not followed, not streamed, connected. Because here's what I keep coming back to. We have more ways to connect than any other generation in human history. More platforms, more technology, more reach, more access, and we have never been more alone. Disconnected from each other, disconnected from our voices, disconnected from our souls, disconnected from our power. And if you're someone who believes in something bigger than yourself, whether that's universe or archetypes or multiple gods or one god, and yet when people find their way back, and I've watched this happen over and over and over, and I've facilitated this happening over and over and over, they almost never find it through a screen, that connection. They're not finding that connection through a screen or through a scroll. They find it through a word, through a hum, through a song that hits differently on their drive home. An inner voice that they finally stopped ignoring. And that is by design. Sound was never just entertainment. It was never meant to just be in the background. Even more recent history, sound was an event. But even before that, before we had concerts and before we had Spotify and before we had CDs and we had record players, music was a method of healing and connecting with the people around us. It was a method of entraining together. It was a method of writing code into our nervous system. Back in the days of sitting around a campfire or a bonfire and singing together and dancing together to the drums with our people after a day of harvest or after a battle. Every lyric, every song, it was all writing or healing some code within the nervous system. And if you work in music, if music is your life, if music is your career, your calling, your passion, I need you to hear this. You are not just making music. You are not just creating content. You are programming people on a neuroscientific level down to their cells. The question isn't whether it's happening or not. The question is whether you're consciously aware that you're doing it or not. Because it is happening. Because that's always been how we've programmed, is through sound. So here is my thesis, and I'll be coming back to this in different ways in every single episode, mostly because it is literally the thesis of my life. It's my Roman Empire. It's the thing that I just can't get enough of, that I've talked about on stages, that I've talked about on social media, I've talked about in lessons. Now I'm here recording this podcast so I can have one place where this all lives now too. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Who said that? I know you know. I know who you know who that is. Albert Einstein. Although there's some speculation about whether it was actually Albert Einstein's wife who said that. But I'm not here to talk about that moment in history. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, right? So your voice is energy. It is sound vibration. So where does it go? When you speak, when you sing, it hits walls, it hits people, it changes the chemistry of the cells that it touches. And this is not a metaphor. This is physics. This is where the science and the spirituality of your voice and your music are going to come together, and a little bit of business too. So if that's where it hits, where does it come from? Is it neurons firing? Sure. Electrical impulses. Yeah, absolutely. And what is that real part that's unexplainable. That's the science. So, what is the spirituality? Where does it come from? To me, that is evidence of your soul. Your voice is the connection between your inner world and your outer world. It is the connection between your soul and the rest of the world. That energy that is neither created nor destroyed, it comes from somewhere, right? And there's plenty of planes on this, plenty of realities on this earth that we just can't see. And your voice is one of them. It is this reality we can measure with technology, but we can't see it. So it is one of the many connections between this other world and this outside physical reality that we're all living in. Singing and speaking are both a learned behavior. It is a behavior that you learned starting from pre-birth. Now, at the time of recording this podcast, I'm about 24 weeks pregnant. So right now, my baby is learning how to speak just from the sounds. They're starting to learn how to form aspects in their mouth that is going to translate into American English. So if this is a learned behavior, that means that someone taught it to you. And that learning started obviously before you could speak and obviously before you were born, right? So if it is a learned behavior, what has been programmed into us? Your voice has been programmed by the perceptions of the world, by your parents, by your culture, by the people around you, by the music that your mother was listening to you, the music that was around after you were born. And even more fascinating, they're both fascinating, the science of what your voice does to your body and the reality around you, because we have the reticular activating system, which is the data filter of your mind. And this data filter of your mind filters in what you want to see and what you don't want to see. So if you have been programmed by your mother, by your grandmother, that men are bad, that men are dangerous, you will find evidence of that in the world. That's how this data filter works. The reticular activating system works in this way. It's going to filter in what you tell it to filter in and filter out what you tell it to filter out. This is the law of manifestation. This is the law of attraction. This is the universe gives you what you want. This is how it works. There is a neuroscience behind it. Many people don't talk about that. So when you speak gratitude, you are going to see more of the things that you're grateful for because you are training your reticular activating system. And we'll talk about this in multiple episodes. The filter between you and reality. And it starts to look for evidence of what you're already saying out loud. So your voice was programmed, and your voice then begins to program your perception of the world. Now, multiply that by a room full of people. See, what happens when we sing together, or when we say the same thing over and over, and I call this the Sweet Caroline effect. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. How many of you wanted to do that ba, ba, ba with me, right? You already know you're trained. You are programmed. That's called entrainment. When our brain waves begin to synchronize, our nervous systems synchronize with each other, and our resilience builds or falls collectively. Now, add on, I'm going somewhere with this, folks, so stay with me. Add on, your voice is directly connected to your fight or flight system. Your voice box, the place in your throat where all the sound originates from, is connected to the longest nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is in charge of your fight or flight response or your rest and digest response. When we sing together. Now, let me backtrack. When I started to learn about the polyvagal theory and the vagus nerve, I started to hear all these people discuss toning and humming and chanting. And I was like, wow, they're doing all of these sound things, these singing things to heal this vagus nerve. And this connects to every single organ in the body, right? And the key to toning, to strengthening it, to resilience, and this is what ice baths are for, right? This is resilience training, is literally singing or humming. So humming is the antidote to the poison or the disease of anxiety. Singing is literally the antidote. It's just science, people. It's just science. So I began to ask myself, is the reason why we're such a mentally have all these, how do I put this? We have all these mental illnesses and all these mental difficulties and all this anxiety in today's modern culture because we have weak vagus nerves. And do we have weak vagus nerves because we stopped toning together and singing together through this collective entrainment? Because once again, when we sing together, our nervous systems synchronize and we begin to heal together, and our resilience builds collectively because our vagus nerves strengthen together. We are meant to sing together around a bonfire and heal from the day's traumas. That is how, for generations and generations and generations, as we grew as primal beings, we were meant to be. And then we began to separate and we began to go into our own homes and have one family homes. And singing was not what became part of the church or part of religion rather than a part of just general spirituality and praise and worship or of gratitude and storytelling. So can we literally heal each other's trauma and the world's trauma together through collective voice? Which makes me ask a question that I just can't stop thinking about. And today's date is March 5th, 2026. The United States has just sent missiles to Iran, and we are in a state of not really sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure when this episode will come out. I'm not sure when I will be sharing this, but that's what's happening in the world today. And so this makes me ask a question I can't stop thinking about. Is the human voice more dangerous than an atom bomb? Because an atom bomb destroys physical matter in one location. Yes, it spreads. Yes, we have radioactivity, but it's at one moment in time. A voice, repeated, amplified, entrained, and broadcasted and multiplied, can rewrite belief systems and nervous systems and organ systems across generations, across entire civilizations. That is neuroscience. Your voice, used effectively, especially if you're a music artist, especially if you're a leader, can rewrite belief systems across generations and civilizations. So you tell me which is more dangerous, the atomic bomb or an empowered voice? Look at artists who have changed the world. Not just the music, but the mechanism. It becomes a mechanism for a movement, for a revolution, an anthem, a moment in history where something shifted and it was soundtracked by a song or by an artist. A chant, a frequency, if you will, that lifts people. Way stronger than any strategy. A chant will take you much further than a strategy ever will. Something that one person starts to say over and over, and then another one, and then another one. And all of a sudden you have 1,000 people repeating the same phrase over and over again for hours to the point where it spreads. This is neuroscience, and physics backs it. Anthropology backs it. Every ancient culture sang together for exactly this reason. And this isn't new knowledge, but it is forgotten knowledge. And the music industry, my industry, the one I work in every day, single day that pays my bills, is sitting on the most powerful tool for human connection that ever existed. And most of it is being used to keep people exactly where they are: sad, angry, divided, consuming. But something is shifting. You feel it. I feel it. The artists who are breaking through right now feel it. I talk to artists on a daily basis. I talk to Grammy Award winning artists. I talk to baby artists. And everyone is feeling this shift. The ones who are really making it on their own terms, which is an important point. They're the ones who are connecting with the nervous system of their audience. And you know what? Not even the ones who are on their own terms, because you still need to connect to the nervous system of your audience in order for the audience to buy it. No amount of money in the world is going to force an audience to like a song. They have to like the song. They have to want to be in the entrainment of the song. Now, of course, there are simple techniques that very big songwriters know how to use to get people to like a song, and they can put subliminal messaging, they can put crap all up in there. That's not what I'm talking about right now. Either way, it is connecting to the nervous system of your audience. Your nervous system speaks and reacts way before your mind does, especially when it comes to music. And so people who are connecting to this music, they are looking for something that carries something real and something true. Now, of course, we could dive into the AI conversation. That's not going to be here right now. What we're going to discuss today and what we're going to discuss on this podcast is the voices who are connecting to the nervous system of their audience, one voice at a time. It's not luck. It's not algorithm. It's one voice finding another. So, here's what this podcast is. This is a place to observe how one voice, one artist, one leader, one human at a time has changed the trajectory of the world, and to ask why, and to figure out what that means for you and your voice right now. This is a place to get the secrets that the music industry won't tell you, that your choir teacher wouldn't tell you, that your voice teacher probably doesn't know how to tell you, that your boss won't tell you. This is a place where we really analyze and showcase the extreme science and the extreme spirituality. We're going to get super woo-woo, and we're going to stay super grounded in the process around the voice, because the voice holds both ends. It holds both ends. This is a place where you will learn the secrets that the people in charge definitely won't tell you. You can think of this as Think and Grow Rich on steroids, because this is the place to recognize the power that you are already holding, the medicine and the weapon, where you will speak what you want to call in, where you will sing to become the person that you want to become, to create the reality that you desire, and that we all desire and that we all deserve. And then, how to market it to the people. One voice at a time.